Linda.
Kennedy, nice to meet you.
Kennedy, it's nice to meet you too. Let me put this away. Kennedy, I'm the site manager here, so thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for applying. I'm gonna just ask a couple of questions. I may take some notes. Don't let that disrupt you, please. My notes are more for myself than anyone else. Tell me something about yourself.
Well, I'm a junior at Eagle Grove High School. I'm involved in Spanish Club and FCCLA. I have worked at the farm for the past 3 years, but I am now currently working at the Eagle Grove Pharmacy.
Wow, busy girl. And why do you want to work for this organization?
Well, I've always valued being from a small town, and I know that your business likes building relationships, and I think that's how I'll be a good contributor, because that small town, you make relationships with pretty much everyone you know.
Have you had any conflicts in either in your schooling or in the positions that you've held that you've had to deal with?
Well, there's always some customers that may not always be happy with how fast you're going, because we converted to a coffee shop about last year, and that was difficult to learn how to do. And so I was a bit slow at the beginning, and one time there was multiple people that came in at once, and there was somebody that left because I wasn't able to make things so quickly, and he ended up coming back the next day when I was still working, and I was able to provide good service to him. So he was satisfied.
How about building relationships? How do you do that?
I try and find something where I can connect with somebody else or something that we have in common and go from there.
And how about your best collaborative effort?
Well, on Saturdays at the farm we used to do meals, and so there would be someone in the back and I would be in the front taking orders, and you kind of have to be communicating so that we could get the coffee drinks done and the meals at the same time, so they all go out at the same time.
What about your biggest challenge if you were to come into this role?
I think I'm shy at first, so it takes a while for me to open up and get to know people.
What one project you're proud of?
Last year I was a finalist in the Get to Know Your Constitution project with the Iowa Bar Association, and I was actually recognized for my essay, which meant a lot to me because it was actually a question that I was really passionate about, and I was able to really get my point across in it, so it was nice to be recognized for that.
Would you share that question with me?
Well, this was back about when the NFL player was kneeling.
Mm-hmm.
So this was just taking down a step to high school, and it said that kid was expelled because he was kneeling during the flag. And I was able to keep my own views aside and say how it was wrong because it does violate your First Amendment right. But I don't necessarily agree with that, but I was able to separate that.
Interesting. How would others describe you?
Others would describe me as hardworking, trustworthy, and reliable.
How would coworkers describe you in that same fashion?
I think they would describe me as responsible, happy because I've been able to really connect with customers. You know, coming in, it's kind of difficult if you don't talk to someone. It makes things awkward. And just being reliable, I'm usually always there. I'm there on time, or I make arrangements if I can't be there. So it's not just thrown at my boss. I make arrangements with my coworkers first and let my boss know that I will be leaving.
Nice. How would you enhance the patient or coworker experience in this position?
I'm able to kind of hide, like, if I'm not having a bad day and still be happy in front of, like, patients and try to make things fun because, you know, they might always not like to be poked and prodded all the time. So.
Can you be happy and smiling every day at work?
I think so.
What if when you say I think so, what if there's a day that you really can't be? What do you do?
I think that I wouldn't be as, like, normally happy. I think I would be able to, you'd be able to tell that I was a little down, but I would still be able to be a little bit cheery, just not too like sad and depressed.
So if you were an artist, what would your workspace look like?
Pretty neat. I'm someone that separates things, and mess kind of bothers me.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with me?
I would just like to know what you think would be a good idea for me, like where to go to school, just because I haven't had like really anybody that I know to give me any advice.
I think that Iowa Central has a very good lab program. I think you can go to almost any of the community colleges to see that. I am not familiar with lab programs at any of the college levels. I'd be happy to look at those for you too, but the lab people that I have all gone to community colleges that work in my office. And they actually do very well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then how would I be able to like grow in the field?
At the clinic, our lab people have the ability to go into management. So our director of lab right now started as a lab tech in Marshalltown. And as she became better at her position and was more interested in it, the management position opened up, she applied for it, and she was able to. They did hire her for that. All of our lab people have their other, like oncology has their own lab. They have their own little lab manager, like an assistant. She'd call her a manager and the director. They also offer continuing education dollars, so you can continue your education. And lab has a lot of different areas that they work, like the branches that all have their own lab people. Some of the x-ray people do labs, some of the lab people do x-ray. So there's different, there's a lab person that also does some rooming in for patients in one of the offices. So there's a wide variety of things
Quite a
that
bit
our
of
lab people.
options.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank you. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Round of applause.